Hello, I'm Park Jung-chul from Yonsei Good Day Dental Clinic. Today's topic for Journal Inside is 3D analysis of soft tissue around implant after flap folding suture. This is an excellent study, and I might be a bit biased since I conducted it, but it offers a 3D analysis of suturing techniques that will be highly beneficial for clinical practice. There are two types of peri-implant soft tissue. One is keratinized gingiva, or more accurately, keratinized mucosa. Gingiva refers to the tissue around the teeth, so it is more accurate to call it keratinized mucosa when it surrounds an implant. Anyway, there are two types of soft tissue around the implant: keratinized mucosa and non-keratinized mobile mucosa. As you all know, our clinical experience shows that a firm, thick, and tightly attached keratinized mucosa is beneficial for patients, and it will make toothbrushing easier too. It is also advantageous for us clinicians, making procedures like impression taking and scaling much easier. But some may doubt whether this keratinized tissue is essential, pointing out cases where the implant has survived for a long time with only mobile mucosa. So, this has long been a highly controversial topic. Is peri-implant keratinized mucosa truly necessary? If so, what is the minimum width and thickness required in millimeters? These questions have been debated for a long time. But according to recent systematic reviews and results from both clinical and animal studies, there seems to be a consensus that at least 1 to 2 millimeters of keratinized mucosa is necessary to help patients comfortably manage and maintain oral hygiene, and to isolate the implant from surrounding tissue movement. But, as everyone knows, creating this keratinized mucosa is incredibly difficult. If the patient presents with adequate tissue initially, it's ideal. Otherwise, we have to harvest the tissue from the palate for a free gingival graft. But first of all, obtaining patient consent is quite challenging. On top of that, we clinicians have to tilt our heads like this to harvest it, which leaves us with a stiff neck. And once it's done, the patient experiences bleeding and pain. It's great if the graft takes well, but sometimes it entirely sloughs off or turns yellow or white as it dies. That's why some even doubt whether the procedure itself is feasible. Since palate harvesting is difficult, some use animal-derived 3D collagen matrices for volume stability. But in reality, it doesn't seem to work as well as an FGG, and it's often just too expensive. Because of this, some clinicians feel like, for this money, I'd rather just do the FGG myself. So, it seems there is still no perfect replacement for FGG out there. Then, it would be great if we could somehow make the most of the existing keratinized mucosa. That's why there are some techniques, such as a modified roll technique, to roll and push in the keratinized mucosa to achieve soft tissue augmentation without wasting even a single millimeter. But this technique requires de-epithelialization, which is a bit of a hassle. And handling that small tissue is tough. It can easily get rolled up or torn, making you want to just snip it off sometimes. Can we create keratinized mucosa around the implant in a quick and simple manner? That's the essence of this study. In particular, how can we ensure stable fixation with simple suturing? That is what triggered this study. The flap folding suture that I used for this study is not actually my own technique. The respected Dr. Kim Do-young mentioned this in his textbook titled The Key of Implant. Back then, the technique wasn't intended for creating keratinized gingiva. But as I used it in my own practice, I realized that it is actually excellent for thickening and maintaining the keratinized mucosa. That's why I decided to investigate it in more detail through this study.